Wake up. The day has already begun, and so must you. Breathe deeply. Because you are alive, and that is your first strength. You are not here to repeat yesterday, but to rise beyond it. Challenges will come. They are your teachers, not your enemies. Discipline your mind, and your body will follow. Your future is shaped by what you do now. When you open your eyes in the morning, understand this simple truth. The day has already begun, with or without you. The world is moving. Time is not waiting. So you must rise with purpose. Don't let the day start on its own terms. Start it on yours. The first moments after waking are not just a routine. They are sacred. This is the foundation on which your entire day is built. If the first thoughts in your mind are random, weak, or distracted, your actions will follow the same path. But if your first thoughts are clear, focused, and powerful, your body and mind align to that energy. Start with silence, then speak with purpose. 5 lines. That is all. Speak them to yourself with full presence. Not just words, but a declaration, a commitment, a reminder of who you are, what you stand for, and why you will not live today passively. These lines are not motivational quotes from someone else. They are the truth you forge through discipline, repetition, and self-mastery. Your mind will try to pull you back into comfort, back into yesterday, back into delay, but you must answer with clarity. Today I begin again. I control how I move. I choose how I respond. I grow through effort. I act with purpose. This practice is not for hype. It is training. It is sharpening the sword before the battle begins. Every single morning is a chance to set the direction of your thoughts before the noise of the world tries to shape them for you. If you don't decide who you are in the morning, the world will tell you who to be. And most often, the world speaks with fear, distraction, and limitation. So when you speak to yourself, you cut through that noise before it even starts. Stand tall when you speak. Breathe deeply. Feel the ground beneath you. These are not empty rituals. This is how you align the mind with the body. This is how you command your focus. Don't rush to your phone. Don't look at messages, notifications, or opinions. Instead, look inward. That is where your discipline begins. Because what you do in the first few minutes of the day will echo throughout the hours to come. It's not about motivation. It's about alignment. And alignment comes from awareness. It comes from mastering your own energy before the world starts pulling it in every direction. Understand this. Your mind is not your enemy, but it is not yet your master either. Every morning you train it. Every repetition of discipline shapes it. That's why the morning matters. That's why speaking to yourself is more than just words. It is forging the path ahead. Speak with strength, and you walk with strength. Speak with clarity, and you act with clarity. And as the days pass, you begin to notice your thoughts follow your voice. Your actions follow your thoughts, and your future is built by those actions. Day by day, it's easy to drift. It's easy to wait for the right moment, the right motivation, the right conditions. But waiting is the habit of weakness. You must begin, even when the mind resists, especially that, because resistance is the sign that you are on the edge of growth. And that edge, that discomfort, is where your potential lives. That's why you must start your day by stepping into it with purpose. You don't rise just to get through the day. You rise to own it, to grow through it, to overcome what held you back yesterday. You rise not for comfort, but for strength, not to react, but to respond with intention. Every word you speak to yourself is a seed. Water it with action, protect it with discipline, and soon it becomes who you are. The words you speak in the quiet of the morning become the roots of your resilience. Speak them with power. live them with presence, and your path will shape itself with clarity. Before you speak, before you move, before the thoughts of yesterday pull you into habit, breathe, just breathe. The breath is your first act of life, and the only constant until your final moment. But most forget it. They rush into the day without noticing its rhythm. They overlook the power that lies in a single conscious breath. So in the morning, before anything else, sit still and return to it. Feel the air enter your body, cool, steady, alive, and then release. That is where your strength begins, not in force, but in awareness. Breath is not just survival, it is the bridge between your mind and body. When your thoughts are scattered, your breath is shallow. When your heart races, your breath becomes erratic. But when you bring attention to your breath, you reclaim control over the system that runs your life. You signal to your mind, I am here, I am present, I am in command. This is not something mystical, it is discipline. It is the foundation of focus. You cannot master your day if you cannot master your breath. Many people wake up and immediately engage with the world, scrolling, planning, worrying, rushing. They begin their day outside themselves, but true strength begins within, and the fastest way back to yourself is through breath. When the breath is deep, the mind slows. When the breath is steady, the body relaxes. This is not weakness, it is preparation. Warriors of every kind have known this. They don't rush into battle, they breathe, they center, they align. That is how they strike with purpose. So when you rise, do not be in a hurry. Sit, stand, but most importantly breathe. Make it your ritual, make it your anchor, because in the chaos of life, the breath is always there, waiting to bring you back. It doesn't require motivation or inspiration. It requires attention, just that. And when your attention meets your breath, your energy shifts. You are no longer reacting, you are responding. This is the difference between being driven by circumstance and moving with intention. Some will say it's too simple, but simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power, when practiced with discipline. The breath doesn't need to be complicated to be effective. Inhale deeply, feeling the rise of your chest, the expansion of your body. Exhale slowly, releasing tension, releasing resistance, releasing the weight of what no longer serves you. This is how you begin again, every single day. And when you speak those 5 lines to yourself, speak them after you breathe. Let the breath clear the noise. Let it make space. Your words will land deeper, carry more weight. They will not just be words, they will be rooted in presence. That is the power of breath. It doesn't just calm you, it prepares you. It grounds your discipline, it steadies your emotion. And in a world that pulls you in every direction, your breath is your center. When fear comes, when doubt creeps in, when frustration builds, come back to it. Inhale, exhale, reset. This is not escape. This is how you stay in the fight without losing yourself. And each day as you practice this, you become more than just reactive. You become composed, intentional, strong, not because life became easier, but because you became more centered. This morning ritual is not about controlling everything. It's about mastering what you can, and your breath is always within reach. So make it sacred, not just in silence, but in challenge, not just in peace, but in pressure. It is your constant companion, your invisible training ground. And when used with awareness, it becomes your hidden strength. So tomorrow, and every day that follows, begin, not with your phone, not with your worries, not even with your to-do list. Begin with breath. Let it clear the fog. Let it open space for discipline. Let it remind you, you are alive, you are capable, and you are here, not to drift, but to direct. The path begins with a single breath. Each morning when you rise, remember, this day is not a copy of the last. It is a new beginning, a blank canvas, a chance to become just a little more than you were yesterday. Too many live in a loop, repeating the same habits, the same patterns, the same thoughts, as if time is something they must simply endure. But you are not here to repeat, you are here to evolve. The purpose of each day is not to stay the same, it is to grow, and growth only happens when you step beyond what is familiar. You must be willing to challenge the version of yourself that woke up yesterday. That version did what it knew, it made choices with the awareness it had. But now you are here, one day older, one breath deeper, one step further. That means you have the power to see something new, to change something small, to push 1 inch beyond your previous limit. That is growth, not in leaps, but in steps. And those steps begin the moment you decide, I will not waste today by living as if it is yesterday. Do not underestimate how powerful that decision is. Most people wait for a sign, they wait for motivation, they wait for the conditions to be right. But if you are always waiting, you are not growing, you are surviving, and you are not born just to survive. Growth requires effort, it requires awareness, and above all, it requires courage. The courage to be uncomfortable, to try again, to face the same problem with new strength. That strength doesn't come from the outside, it is built every morning when you choose to begin again. You see, nothing in nature stays the same. A tree does not hold its leaves forever. A river does not stop moving. The sun does not rise the same way each day. Change is not the enemy, it is the essence of life. And when you resist change, you resist yourself. But when you accept growth as your path, you stop fearing failure, you stop fearing discomfort. You understand pain is not punishment, it is the process. Struggle is not weakness, it is the signal that you are reaching further than before. So when you speak those 5 lines in the morning, don't speak them as the person you were yesterday, speak them as the person you are becoming. Let your words carry intention. Let them be a reminder that you are not here to stay small, to stay still, to stay silent. You are here to rise, to move, to act. That is what it means to grow. And every act of growth, no matter how small, builds momentum. One thought leads to one action. One action becomes one habit. One habit becomes your character. That is the process. Some days growth will look like discipline. Other days it will look like rest. Some days it means doing more. Other days it means letting go. What matters is not perfection. What matters is direction. Are you moving forward? Or are you standing still in disguise? Are you choosing progress? Or are you choosing comfort, dressed as routine? These are the questions that shape your path. And the answers are found not in thought, but in what you do. That is why every morning matters. You don't rise to continue, you rise to evolve, and that means embracing what's difficult. Growth will test you, it will push your limits, it will ask more of you than you think you can give. But in that space, beyond comfort, beyond old patterns, that's where you find what you're really made of. You grow not because it's easy, but because it's worth it, because the person you're becoming depends on it. When you speak to yourself in the morning, speak as a builder, speak to stone, not with doubt, but with clarity. You are not repeating the past, you are shaping your future, one breath at a time, one word at a time, one step at a time. Don't try to become everything at once, just become a little better, a little stronger, a little more aware, every day. That is the quiet path of mastery, and it always begins now. Every morning when you rise, understand that challenges will come. They are not interruptions in your path, they are the path. Most people wake up hoping the day will be easy, smooth, free from difficulty. But ease does not make you strong, struggle does. Difficulty reveals what you need to work on. Resistance shows you where you still have room to grow. So don't fear it, don't avoid it, face it with calm, steady intention. Challenges are not placed in your way to stop you, they are placed there to shape you. When the discomfort comes, when the pressure builds, remember what you told yourself this morning. You didn't rise just to exist, you rose to grow. And you grow through facing what is hard, not by escaping it. Discipline isn't built in perfect moments. Strength isn't built when everything goes your way. It's built when things go wrong, and you stay composed. It's built when people doubt you, and you stay committed. It's built when you fail, and still choose to show up the next day. That is the work, that is the test. And every challenge is a new chance to prove you're not who you were. You're becoming who you were meant to be. In those moments, your breath becomes your anchor. When the mind panics, when emotions rise, when frustration whispers in your ear to give up, you breathe. Inhale, slow and deep. Exhale, steady and long. This simple act returns you to center. It reminds you, I am not what happens to me, I am how I respond. That is your true power. You are not a slave to the external, you are a student, and every obstacle is a teacher in disguise. Some lessons come in silence, others come wrapped in failure, in rejection, in delay, but all of them carry wisdom. If you stay open, ask yourself, in the middle of any challenge, what is this here to teach me? Not why me, but what now? Not how do I escape this, but how do I grow through this? These are the questions that turn resistance into growth. These are the questions that keep your spirit sharp. Remember, the goal is not to avoid difficulty. The goal is to become someone who moves through it with discipline and grace. To become someone who sees pressure as a forge, not a prison, who sees setbacks as setups for deeper strength. That mindset is not natural. It is trained, and you train it every morning, when you speak truth to yourself, when you declare, I am here to grow, not to hide, I am here to respond, not to react, I am here to face, not to flee. If you live trying to dodge every challenge, you will also miss every opportunity to become who you're capable of being. The truth is, you don't know your strength until you are tested. You don't know your depth until you're pushed beyond comfort. That's when your real self steps forward. And that self is not afraid. That self does not run. That self breathes, centers, and takes action. One step at a time, even if the path is hard, even if the outcome is uncertain, and even when you stumble, even when the challenge feels too big, you do not retreat. You return, you breathe, you speak your 5 lines again, you remember who you are, and why you began. Discipline is not about being perfect, it's about coming back to your center every time you fall. That repetition, that refusal to quit, is what creates mastery. That is how strength becomes your nature, not just a performance. So tomorrow, when the challenge shows up, and it will, don't ask for ease, ask for wisdom, ask for patience, ask for the strength to face it fully. Because each challenge is shaping you, each one is carving away what is weak, what is soft, what is uncertain, and what's left behind. That is the real you, strong, still, unshaken. The ones who grow the most are not the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones who meet their challenges with steady breath and focused mind, and keep walking forward, no matter what. Discipline is not something you find, it's something you build. And you build it daily. Each morning before the world pulls you in 100 directions, you have a moment where you choose who you will be. You don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You don't need to feel ready. What you need is to train, and training begins the moment you wake. Say your words, breathe deeply, and then act. Not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because this is what builds the future you want. The body will follow the mind, but the mind must be trained. Like any muscle, without discipline, your thoughts scatter. You become reactive, emotional, easily distracted. But with discipline, you become focused, calm, and sharp. You don't chase comfort. You choose purpose, and that choice becomes stronger each time you repeat it. Small actions matter. Repeating them every day matters more. The way you make your bed, the way you stand, the way you sit and breathe before you begin. These aren't minor details, they are the foundation of who you are becoming. People often think discipline is about doing big, impressive things. It's not. It's about doing the small things consistently, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the real test. Will you act even when there's no applause, no recognition, no immediate reward? Will you keep going even when your mind tries to convince you to rest, to delay, to escape? That resistance is the doorway, and you walk through it with discipline. You train it in the quiet, in the early hours,
when no one is watching, because that's when it's most pure. It's not for the world, it's for you. You do it because you said you do it because each time you follow through, you strengthen your character. Each time you choose action over excuse, you carve a stronger path. And over time, this becomes your rhythm, your nature, your identity. You don't need to think about discipline anymore. It becomes part of how you live. When the mind starts to drift, return to the breath. That's your signal. Inhale. Come back to the moment. Exhale. Let go of distraction. Then act. It can be one small task, one clear movement, one focused thought. That's all it takes to begin. And once you begin, momentum builds. Discipline isn't about force. It's about flow. But that flow only comes when you move, when you engage, when you stop negotiating with your mind and start leading it. This is why those first moments in the morning matter so much, because they set the tone for everything that follows. If you begin with hesitation, your day reflects it. But if you begin with clarity and action, you carry that energy forward. Your mind starts to trust you, your body starts to respond, you start to become the person you speak about in those 5 lines, the one who doesn't just dream, but the one who doesn't just hope, but moves, the one who doesn't rely on the mood of the moment, but on the strength of commitment. You won't always feel like showing up, that's normal, but the way through is not to wait for the feeling to change. It's to move despite it. Feelings pass, discipline stays, and in time you'll see that the very days you didn't want to act, those are the days that built you. Those are the victories that no one sees, but that shape everything. And when the challenges come, as they will, discipline is what carries you through. Not motivation, not emotion, but a quiet, steady decision. I will not quit. I will not drift. I will do what must be done. That's how you sharpen the mind. That's how you train the body. That's how you earn the future. So every morning, return to the practice. Return to your breath. Speak your truth and act with discipline, because everything you want begins with what you choose to do when no one's watching. The words you speak to yourself every morning are not just affirmations. They are instructions. They are the seeds of belief, and belief shapes behavior. If you speak from doubt, you'll move with hesitation. If you speak from strength, you'll move with purpose. Your inner voice is your first leader each day. It's the one that either lifts you or limits you. And when you train that voice to speak with clarity, with calmness, with conviction, you begin to walk through life grounded, centered, and steady. But this voice must be cultivated. Left on its own, it becomes reactive. It echoes fear, comparison, and old habits. That's why the morning is so important. It is your reset point. You are not the failures of yesterday. You are not the fears of tomorrow. You are what you choose to believe right now. And belief is built by repetition. The more you speak strength, the more you feel it. The more you declare calm, the more you embody it. What you say to yourself becomes the lens through which you see the world. So say it clearly, say it with your chest, say it like your future depends on it, because it does. These 5 lines you speak in the morning are not for performance, they are for alignment. They are to remind you who you are, why you're here, and what you are capable of. And you don't speak them once and forget. You speak them, then live them, word by word, step by step. There will be days when your mind is clouded, when doubts creep in, when nothing feels like it's working. On those days your words become even more important. That's when your inner training is tested. Anyone can speak confidently when things are easy, but to speak from strength when things are unclear, that's discipline, that's presence, that's power. You are not here to follow the chaos. You are here to lead yourself through it, and you lead through the way you speak. The voice in your head becomes the tone of your day. If that voice is calm, you move with calm. If that voice is scattered, you feel overwhelmed. So train it. Speak not like a victim of your day, but like the master of it. Not from fear, but from responsibility. Not from rush, but from control. And remember, you're not trying to control the world. You're learning to control yourself, your focus, your energy, your breath. That is where freedom begins. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to know the next right step, and believe you have the strength to take it. That belief is reinforced every time you speak to yourself with intention. Your mind is listening, even when you're not aware. Every complaint, every excuse, every doubt, it hears them, stores them, and repeats them. But the same is true for every word of courage, every breath of focus, every line of strength. So feed it wisely. You are not just speaking words, you are building a mindset, one that doesn't crumble under pressure, one that doesn't fade with distraction, one that holds steady in the storm. This is why silence before the world begins is so valuable. In that silence, your words carry more weight. There is no noise, no demand, just breath and voice. And in that space, you remind yourself, I am here, I am capable, I am focused, I am unshaken. Speak those lines until they become your truth, until they echo even when your world shakes, until they stand taller than your fears, your doubts, your distraction. And then carry those words into the day. Let them guide your choices, let them shape your posture, your tone, your presence. You don't rise to be controlled by life. You rise to walk through it with awareness, with strength, with a mind that doesn't just react but responds, with clarity and depth. You've trained your breath, you've prepared your discipline, you've embraced the challenge, and now, you train the voice that leads it all, because the way you speak to yourself determines how you carry yourself, and how you carry yourself determines how far you'll go.